What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Not So CEO Talk Show with your lovely host, Brittany Antoinette. And we're back again this week with another epi, a new epi. I have a lovely, amazing, gorgeous guest here. She is pretty much plant-based millennial mommy. You could probably spot one of her amazing quotes all over your timeline. Just gems dropping all the time. Can we just give it up for holistic nutritionist Ariel Simone?
Ew, that's me or whatever. That's your girl.
Yes, I am so grateful to get you in the seat to have this conversation with you because it's been brewing for some time. I think when I first said that I was starting this talk show, you were one of the first people that I wrote into my script when it came to episodes. And I was just like, I want to do one episode talking about going with your gut. Mm-hmm. And literally there was no other person than Ariel Simone who could talk about this topic.
Talk about it.
Period. So it is, again, I'm very grateful to be able to share space with you. I'm very grateful to be able to hold space for this conversation. I'm really excited just because a lot of people don't be talking about the real shit. Like, literally pun intended.
Right.
Pun intended.
Literally.
But let me be like, how do we meet? I'm thinking we met. I think you slid into my DMs, or we was following each other on Twitter. Because I followed you on Twitter and I was just like, oh my God. Like, I think it was during a time when I was having like some health issues. Mm-hmm. And I had seen one of your tweets about, I think it was something pertaining to just gut health and its connection to anxiety, so on and so forth. And I was like, oh my God, she's like speaking to my ears.
Like, that's me. Music
to my ears. And then I seen that you were a holistic nutritionist and you were also a coach, and you also had a background in like training, and you had all these different health certifications. Mm-hmm. And then you slid into my DMs one day. I remember hitting me up about wanting to possibly do a pitch deck or a press kit for you. We didn't connect on that, but I ended up bumping into you maybe like a couple of weeks later at my girl Yanni. Shout out to Yanni. One of her events at Kokomo.
Yo.
Shout out to Kokomo, Kevin Rhea. You know the fucking vibes.
Mm-hmm. That food was mad good that day. It was
lit.
so good.
Go to Kokomo. You know the vibes.
Nice.
Yes.
Hold on. I gotta talk about your outfit.
You had on a Hanifa. See?
I did. I had a little
girls.
I had a little two-step.
She came on late like, I'm fashionably late.
I'm sorry.
The feathers were blowing as she was walking through the door. No, she dead ass had on feathers on her coat. Mad cute though.
It definitely was blowing.
And we connected for brief moments after. And she was just so lovely and so sweet. She even like dropped me to like a certain point on her way home so I could get out and take a Uber. so
the Uber be cheaper. Because they be wilding in New York.
So girl was looking out, and then since then I've been able to keep in touch with you. So I'm so happy to be able to finally meet up with you in person outside of the digital wall.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really, really excited. Real quick though, since we talk about when we first met, right? When I first peeped, I was like, oh my God, that's Brittany, right? Because it's an influencer dinner. It's an influencer dinner, and we got to talk about that real quick.
I don't even feel like I'm an influencer. I'm just there.
No, you just.
I feel like I'm like just the person who works, but I'm just like the person who always be in the rooms, but you never know what I do.
Right. I feel that. I definitely feel that. Because I was like, what do she do? I don't know.
No one ever knows what I'm doing, but I'll be there. And like, I don't be influencing and shit, but I just be like, yeah, I know all the girls.
Yeah. I think you have a very interesting type of influence, though. It's very unique. Nah, for real. It's very unique. You know, and it definitely spoke to me. For sure.
Thank
Just spoke to your girl. So I was like, oh,
yes.
So I was like, oh, nah, like, that's Brittany, right? Because I'm looking around the whole room. I'm like, oh, that's that person. Okay. Like, I'm in this room. Like, this is me.
Oh, my God.
So when I peeped it was you and you was dripped in an all ivory type white look from head to toe, I said, my God.
The details. My girl.
Like, it was a monochromatic look. That was the first time I've ever seen it.
It's a monochromatic detailed memory for me.
Like,
literally, thank you.
Girl, I'm not even being dramatic. I went home, I called my boyfriend, and I was like, I saw Brittany and she wore this all white outfit.
I love to see it.
And I was like, and she smokes.
Yo, I feel like that's the one thing when people meet me, they get so shocked where after the event, I'm always looking for the person to be like, yo, you smoke? Like I be looking for the one person like, yo, you smoke?
I don't even think you asked that day. You just sparked it. And I was like, oh, yeah.
More than likely, I probably was outside like, yeah, some fresh air. Lick.
That's what I was like, nah. And then you were saying some real shit too. I'm like, nah, she's mad beautiful, mad smart. And she sparked a fucking split. This my friend. This my friend. I belong here.
Yes. Oh my God. The fact that I made you feel that way, that warms my heart.
No, I really mean that too, girl. I went and told everybody.
Oh my God.
Even when I was doing this today and I was talking to my mom about it, I'm like, it's this girl. She's super nice, super classy, and ratchet.
My type of ratchet. The clatchet. It's the clatchet. It's the clatchet for me. We like that. We definitely gotta, embrace the clatchet. Mm-hmm. It's good balance between classy and ratchet. You feel me?
Like,
can't be too much of the other. One or the other. Libra scale tip. You feel me?
Like, I'm a read, but I'm a twerk.
Right.
I'm a cook and do my yoga, but I'm a flex. Like, I'm a
smoke a spliff.
Period. So.
Period.
I really love that.
I love the multidimensionality, and I just love how just Black women are just able to just celebrate their multifacetedness and able to be everything at once. And that's just one of the amazing things about just being one of us. I mean, gang. I'm just saying, glad I'm gang. But I again thank you for giving me my flowers, because I'm like, damn, I'm supposed to be giving you your flowers. I'm obviously, I have a hard time taking compliments, but we working on it. I feel like we all do that. We all downplay ourselves so much, so when other people do it, it's kind of like a sense of like, oh my God, like my cheeks are turning rosy every time we do this, because I'm like, the same way my friends be hyping me up, I be hyping them up, and it's just like this back and forth game of like, nah, I love you, no, I love you more, no, you that bitch, you that bitch, and it's like, you know what, it's so beautiful to be surrounded by that energy, because it just helps your confidence just flourish and soar when you're surrounded by that. And absolutely. I'm just really, really excited for just this conversation to unfold. And just first off, I just want to just kind of get into just the nitty gritty and maybe the beginnings. Like, first of all, you're from Brooklyn, okay? Mm-hmm. You're from the fucking you're from the hometown. Like, you're from Brooklyn. Like, I'm from the floors.
Okay.
You grew up and you're from Williamsburg originally. Right. And where else in Brooklyn did you live?
I've always lived in Williamsburg.
You lived in Williamsburg your whole life?
The last 2 years, I've moved to Bed-Stuy.
Got it. And Williamsburg, for one, is one of the first areas in New York City that we ever really even seen get gentrified.
For sure.
So
actually, I think it is.
Definitely was a very interesting time for you to be living over there and just to literally see like flat developments turn into skyscrapers, like literally over less than a decade. Like I remember Williamsburg started going up by the time I reached high school, maybe like 14, 15 years old. That's when it was like, whoa, this is a new world.
It started being like a mecca, like a shop for a space for like cafes and wellness shops and thrift stores and restaurants.
It's like, we never seen this shit before.
I never seen this before. What? And then now we got like really fancy.
Niggas got crown fried chicken. We don't got cafes.
But it's really interesting because I go visit my home a lot because my parents still live there, or my mom still lives there. So I visit often. And I was just recently there, and I'm from the projects. Your girl is from the projects.
Oh my God. Yes. We love that, period. And there's nothing wrong with that. My whole family is from the projects as well, period. Let me tell you something.
First off, project women.
People put you in a box. And I remember growing up, people used to try to make you feel so ashamed and so embarrassed for living in the projects. My whole family from my dad's side is from Brookline projects. And I'm talking like generations. Like I remember like literally spending my summers, my Christmases, my Thanksgivings, and then I used to live in Glenwood projects. As I got older, I moved to Glenwood projects by South Shore, and I lived there from I was like maybe like 8, 9 years old.
Nature
girls.
Nature
hotties. You feel me? Nature hotties. So black girls out there, let me tell you, there's absolutely nothing wrong from coming from the projects, living in the projects, because at the end of the day, your environments do not define who you are. It's about what you can do in those circumstances. You feel me? So
and they shape you.
You know,
I really would not be who I am today if I wasn't from the projects.
Let me tell you.
Like, I feel like I'm so fashionable. I feel like I can make anything work. I'm so confident. Like, cause it's just like when you just walk through the projects, you know everybody, you saying hello to everybody, head up high. Like, you gotta talk to me nice. So it's just like, I'm just so much more confident because I'm from there. So
I love that. And like I said, it's something as to where just being a person of color, being black, right? It's something that, especially in New York City, it was one of the things, oh, you from the projects? Oh, you from the projects? And it was one of those things like, people used to really shame you for that shit. Like, it's really crazy. Oh, you from the projects? You dirty. Da, da, da. Like, what? My family's from the projects and we all fly. Fuck you talking about? Don't be mad because it's paying, $600 a month. Like, don't be mad, But anyways,
pros and cons to that, though. I'm gonna be honest.
Now there's a difference between growing up in the projects and staying in the projects. There's a big difference because at the point in time, you want to eventually leave.
That's the goal.
You want to leave. The goal should always be to leave, and the goal is to never be comfortable. You feel me? But it's definitely for you to get that start. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I feel that it's a stigma, a negative stigma that we need to break. And we need to celebrate it. And no matter where you're from, like, okay, shorty, my lawn, just had, gates and barbed wire around there. You feel me? They didn't have a white picket fence.
Right.
Like that.
The
that's all
was cool.
The pigeons was cool. We didn't have doves, we had pigeons. You feel me? Do the bird call. They send messages and shit. Nah, but it's beautiful to hear that, and I'm glad that you're so proud of that. That definitely makes me feel proud, and I can definitely tell whoever listens to this, black girls, whoever might have felt they were out of place in surroundings because of their upbringing, there's space for you, okay? Always. There is space for you always. And even if you got to create that shit.
I was just about to say that. If it's not no space, create that shit.
Create it. And that's exactly what I feel like you've definitely done for yourself. So now, growing up in the projects in Brooklyn, I definitely just already know when you just say projects in Brooklyn. So granted, there is a side of us that, we love and adore and that we can admonish and just sit in that nostalgia, but it also comes with other things, right? Sure. Because of the fact that your environment is your environment, you cannot really control what goes on, right? And, there might be a little violence, from time to time, depending on where you lived. And I feel that a lot of these things, these factors can shape, how you even feel, like even your body's response, your nervous system response.
Absolutely.
And that's I
think that's a New York thing, period, though. I don't know if it's like a project thing.
It's a New York thing.
Because I'm from New York, I do operate from a high level of anxiety and stress. Like, I anticipate when somebody gonna do too much. Like, or like when
that's New York in general. Like going on the subway, everything.
Like, you always on guard, always. So I do feel like that might just be a New York thing, but it makes us really, really vivacious people, because when I go to anywhere in the world, I've been to so many countries by myself, and I feel like I've been there by myself and I've been safe and I've been good, one, because of God, and then two, because of my personality. The second I say I'm from New York, they're like, oh, I know what that is. The second I say I'm from Brooklyn, they're like, oh, you know Jay-Z. You know Jay-Z. I'll be like, yeah, I know him.
That's my brother.
I know it. That's my uncle. Like, I
what
didn't know him.
What are you talking about? Like, I dead ass know Sean. What are you talking about?
Oh, you talking about Sean? Oh, yeah.
Where? He was just over Thanksgiving. What you mean?
I dead know. I call him right now.
1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4.
I call him right now.
4 years, 40 million more. Yo, these clowns.
I'm weak.
He's acting like a bozo. Right. Nah, but it's the anxiety of living in New York is definitely the anxiety, like the pains that it just creates. Like, you know, just even we've embraced like our senses almost being numbed,
right,
by what we hear, the sirens to the fire alarm, the fire trucks and the ambulances, cop cars, people arguing in the street.
All the time.
You can literally just hear all these different things. And I can just imagine just how it just impacts your body, both your mental body and your physical body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But how did you go from, you know, Williamsburg princess to holistic nutritionist? Like, what was your experience like academically going into your professional career?
Okay, so I really don't have like a straight narrow road when it comes down to my education.
And that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's totally okay. I actually feel like I'm more lit because it wasn't straight narrow. Like,
period.
Yeah, actually. So
that's what makes you even more fire.
Yeah, thank you, girl.
We could just make that. We could just say that.
For sure. So it just wasn't really straight. I went to school for, at first, it was women's studies and African studies.
What?
Yeah, and then I studied abroad in Africa. I studied abroad. So
you were so amazing. You get more amazing by the second.
Yeah.
Where did you study in Africa? Like, tell me more. Tell me more. Girl,
no.
What?
Yes, girl. I studied abroad in Africa for a semester. I studied in Tanzania, Zanzibar, and Mozambique. It was very, very amazing. Like, I didn't even know like the Lion King and Hakuna Matata and Kiswahili was really a thing. Like, I did not even know that was a thing.
Hakuna Matata.
That really deadass me no worries. Like, it really is a language, and I didn't know that. We went to Pride Rock too. I didn't know Pride Rock was like a real thing. But yeah, I went there, and that was actually my first time ever out the country, like,
and
ever.
you went to Africa.
Yeah, it was my first time, and I was just like begging my parents.
What made you say you wanted to study? What made you say I wanted to major in Africana studies? So in Africana studies in college.
So I low-key was like really obsessed with getting a 4.0. So I would get like 4.0s like 2 or 3 semesters at a time. And then sometimes I'll like go down and I'll get like a 3.8 and stuff. So I started getting scholarships. So I got one scholarship and I was like, oh, I got an extra little $4,000. Like, I was like, oh, I can afford to go abroad. And my study abroad program was like about $6,000. So I was like begging my parents. I was like, please, we could be on a payment plan. Let's just take this loan out, help the kid. And then they took a loan out for me so I can go.
That is so.
Shout out to my parents. Shout out to my parents.
Making shit possible for your girl.
Yeah, no, I'm real excited about that. They didn't even know where Africa was. They was just like, girl, you just gonna go back to the homeland. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it.
And never come back.
Right.
Yes.
So I studied abroad there and that was amazing. But when I came back, I started modeling and I was like, oh, I think I want to get into like business and
definitely
advertising.
Can see that.
Thank you, girl. Yeah, so I was like, I want to do that. And then I started modeling more. And I went to SUNY Albany, but then I transferred over.
Yes, my cousin went to SUNY Albany.
Yeah, I went there from 2009 to 2013.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I transferred over to CUNY Brooklyn College, and I started.
I went to Brooklyn College.
Oh, what year?
Get the fuck out of here.
I went
Wait, what year?
I went from 2013 to 2014. I just did my last year.
Yo, you frontin'. I went there 2014.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Brooklyn
That's
College,
crazy.
Everybody mind their business there. Everybody mind their business. Like, it's hard to make friends.
Out.
Yeah, everyone in and out.
I literally was there on the weekends and after work. Like after work, I worked full time. At the time, I was working in automotive at the time. And the only reason why I went to Brooklyn College was because I went to Kingsborough originally and they accepted all my credits. I graduated with an associate's degree in fashion merchandising, retail fashion merchandising. And then from there, Brooklyn College accepted my credits and it was like, I got to just enroll like without even me applying. Like,
oh, wow.
So I just literally did like a late enrollment there. So I was just there in the evenings. But Brooklyn College, I loved Brooklyn College. It was definitely very quiet. Everyone minded their business. Professors, I was known to kick off, sometimes with some of them because a lot of them, I remember I had one teacher there who told me, I haven't gotten a raise in 5 years, so I don't feel like teaching. I'm like, miss, I don't know what the fuck that got to do with me.
Yeah.
But just give me my A.
Please. Thank you.
Got nothing to do with me, girl. Yeah. Sound like a personal problem.
Yeah, they are a little ratchet there.
They was. Yeah, rather than my Kingsborough, which is very interesting. But what did you major in Brooklyn College?
Well, I majored in business advertising, business marketing and advertising.
Yes.
So I graduated with my degree in that. Yes. And then I'm now still in Brooklyn College, but I'm transferring soon, and I'm taking all my pre-med classes so I can get into a medical program.
That is so amazing. Yeah,
your girl is trying to get her PhD.
Your girl she just work. She really does.
Study. Because I want to know what I'm talking about, and I want to understand the science behind our bodies and the systems and how they work together in an integrative way. Like, I don't want to be that doctor that when you come to me, I'm like, oh, you got to see the kidney person. Oh, you got to see the gastro guy. Like, no, I want it to be like, oh, how are we taking care of stress?
Wow.
Period. How are we resting? How are we drinking? How often are we drinking water? Do you stretch? Like, these are the things I want to be talking about, and I want to have the science to back up the theory behind holistic nutrition.
Got it. Wow. First of all, that was just amazing. Your journey is super inspiring. Like,
thank you, girl.
Girl is like another degree, another one, and another one. I love that. I really love that for you, and it's really inspiring. Just. Ooh, I can't wait to even just hear more. Okay. Next. Okay. So I must ask, how did you get into becoming a holistic nutritionist? At what point? Was it after the modeling career? Was it after you graduated with your degree in business and marketing? At what point was it that you said, this is a path that I think I'm being called to?
Yeah, so I want to say my journey really did start at SUNY Albany. I was like the main model for this really, really big fashion show. It was called like a super fashion show, and they did a Kanye West type theme fashion show based off my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, and I was the Phoenix.
Yes.
It was really, really big, very beautiful. And that's when I was like, oh, I need to get into a modeling bag. I am 5'11", so
yes, and you're gorgeous, skin glowing. Yes.
Thank you. My skin glows because of my gut health.
Yes.
For sure.
She gonna give us some tips.
We're gonna get into it. So I started off modeling, and after I came back from Africa, I was like, oh, travel lit. Travel's really, really lit. Yes. I need to be traveling more. So I started saving up money. I worked tons of retail jobs, and I was like,
tell me some retail jobs you worked at.
Okay. So I worked at DSW. Well, my first job ever was at Five Guys.
Oh,
Five Guys
yes.
Burgers and Fries. Yeah, and then I worked at DSW. After DSW, I worked in a store called C Wonder. I don't know if you remember it, but it was like a sister of Tory Burch.
No, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, it's super cute, like a very small boutique type store.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, and then I also interned at Elle Magazine.
What?
Yeah. So
okay, your girl is very multifaceted. Yes.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, how can I get more into modeling? But my internship was honestly trash, because I was like,
New York internships back then was always trash, especially fashion internships.
Yeah.
If you don't make me get more than motherfucking coffee.
Right. I was always getting coffee. I was delivering things to models, and it was making me feel some type of
way.
I was like,
they had me delivering shit. Oh my God. I worked at a fashion PR internship one time. Yo, I gotta share this story one day, because the story, how it connects to today, is real crazy. But
doesn't it always connect?
It always
comes back full circle.
It really comes back full circle. And I don't even got enough time to even get into how the circle came to be. But one thing I can say was lugging them clothes in the subway, the runs, the go sees.
And this is before Uber.
This was before. Yo, I remember when Uber hit New York City. Blood cleat. What? Yo, I remember when Uber hit the streets. Yo, niggas was running up the free rides, the free $30 rides, Yo, sending this shit to all my friends. Yo, was styling in a black car for months.
That's a fact. I forgot about Uber being
I remember when Uber just first, the free ride thing. Yo, they really did their thing. Mm-hmm. Yo, the documentary on, I don't know if it's on Netflix or Showtime, on Uber. Wild.
Oh, I want to watch
If y'all
that.
ever get an opportunity, I forgot what it's called. I think it might be called The Rise of Uber. I'm not too sure. yo, just even watching the way they operated, it's like, whoa,
yeah.
like, whoa.
They have really, really great marketing too.
It was just even just the way they let it, who was interested, the people who had money in it, just some really big people, some really big. Y'all watch it when you get a chance. Okay. So back to your modeling journey.
Yeah, so I was modeling and I was saving up money and I was traveling. I flew myself out to London and Paris.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get signed. Your girl is gonna get signed no matter what. So I was going to different agencies and I ended up almost being booked by Ford and almost by Wilhelmina.
I worked at Ford.
Wow. I was like this close
I worked
to
at Ford.
Yeah.
Wait. New York Ford?
No, Paris Ford.
In Paris Ford. That's wild.
Paris Ford, yeah.
What year was this?
I want to say, so I think I was like 21 at the time. So I want to say this was like 2015. Oh, no, 2014.
Wait, if you were 21... You had to be like, nah.
No, I think I was no. I think I was 22. I know that I had just like graduated, and I graduated when I was 21. So I had to be like 22 or 23.
Life is so. I worked at Ford. I was an assistant to a creative director on the image board back in like 2011.
Oh, wow.
That was like my first big girl job. I was an intern and went from an intern into an assistant to a creative director.
Wow,
and
that's
now
impressive.
I'm a creative director today, right?
For yourself.
For myself.
Yeah. Run no applause on that.
I'm just like imagining like, oh my God, how could we have crossed paths? Like that's just so amazing. So like from once you discovered like I can, be beautiful and sell things easy peasy on camera, I need to know, like, where did the health come in?
Yeah, so I actually went to Paris and they were like, look, you have the right look for Wang, Alexander Wang at the time. And they was just like, we really need you to lose about like 8 to 10 pounds. I am 5'11".
This is very true.
Yeah, and
this is very true.
And when I talk to people about this, I don't think that they think about the fact that this is like almost 10 years ago-ish. So this was really before Instagram. This was when Instagram was about food and selfies.
Yes.
You remember when Instagram was about food, selfies, and your pet? It was like those three things.
This was before Instagram even had an aesthetic. You literally just posted to just post. And there's so much back to what you're saying. When I was working at that agency, I remember there was this one model in particular. She and the division that I worked on was a huge division. So I'm talking the girls in Balenciaga, Alexander Wang, Givenchy, all the same shit that you were probably casted for.
Yeah, like
the same exact things. I remember one time, they were talking about this girl who was a size 6, and they were like, "Oh, she's so fat. She's so fat." I remember one time,
even
I had a model text me.
Even a 4 is big.
I had to drop a model from one show to the next. I had to pick her up from Milk Studios, and I had to drop her off by Lincoln Center one fashion week. And she texted me and asked me if I could get her 2 bananas and an apple. And I remember having to ask my manager, can I give it to her? And she was like, no, you can only give her the banana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, actually, she would have been better with the apple.
For the energy,
and
right?
The fiber.
And the fiber.
And it's less starch. But okay, go off. The industry used to be so terrible. Like, they used to really try to... So I have big hips for a really skinny girl. And back then, they were just like, your hips are just so big. And I'm like, my hips are 35.
Hips don't lie.
Right.
Baby,
now I love my hips.
Right. Yeah. Like, your hips look good, girl. Anyways.
Yeah. So, I'm like, this is actually a long story, but I'm gonna make it short. I was on FaceTime with my mom and I knew I had to lose this weight. So I was working out 2 to 3 times a day. I was not drinking that much water because, water bloats you out. And I was just like, nah, I am going to lose this weight in a week so I can walk for Wang. The running pay at that time was like $5,000 too. So $5,000 10 years ago was giving $20,000. So I was just like, oh, I need to do this. This is gonna help me pay back so many of my loans. Like, I'm doing this. And on my way to the Eiffel Tower, because I was like in Starbucks FaceTiming my mom, and I'm like, oh, I want to go to the Eiffel Tower. And I'm getting goosebumps even talking about this because it's crazy. On my way to the Eiffel Tower, I passed out. passed out clean, right? I wake up and it's one couple, like one person's grabbing my legs, another one is grabbing the back of my head. They're like trying to put some sugar down my throat. They're just like, oh, she passed out. Like no one speaks English either. I'm the only one that speaks English. I hear my mother on the FaceTime like, what's going on? Everyone, she's crying, she's screaming, she's going crazy. Then the couple like called their daughter that like was a student in Washington and like called her on the phone to speak English to me. They're like, my parents said you just fell in Starbucks. And I was just like, wow. The EMTs came. They was mad buff, mad healthy, look
mad brolic.
I was like, the EMTs look like this? Like, the fuck?
Parlez-vous français?
They was looking mad fine. I was like, wow, what is going on? Also goes to show you like how unhealthy Americans are, because our EMT people don't look like that. So I was like, all right. I ended up being in the hospital for like 10 days.
Paris?
Yeah, in Paris.
By yourself?
By myself. So
at what age?
22, 23.
Sheesh.
Paris by myself for 10 days. And on top of that, like I was dehydrated. I was diagnosed with vertigo. And on top of that, I was very malnourished. So they were just like all your levels are super low. They was really like, you was flirting with death. And I'm like, damn, just because I was trying to lose weight. And
so
I was
you could walk for Wang.
I was 120 pounds
walk of
at 5'11".
Like, walk of Wang sounds like the walk of death.
Yeah, right? A walk of death.
Bomba-clot.
And they still, like, back then when you were like 5'10", they really wanted you to be like 112.
Yes.
You know, and I was
23, 24 inch waist. Yep.
Very, very unnatural and very, very unhealthy. So I'm sitting there by myself for 10 days, internet on slow. So I'm just like, I have to sit with myself and really think like, is this even making me happy? At the end of the day, I'm a walking hanger. I don't get to show how vibrant and eclectic my personality is. I'm not being used for my brain at all. Like at all. I'm just like supposed to be silent and just walk in. Fashion just wasn't flowing in alignment with prosperity or health at all. So I was just like, damn, okay, one, I need to drink more water. And two, I started studying the way the body works. So I started getting into physiology, and then I got a certificate in a certification in personal training. I became a personal trainer for like 3 to 5 years, and I started peeping. I'm like, you could go to the gym like every day. If you don't eat right, it's almost like you didn't go. Like it literally is 80% nutrition. It is.
Wow.
It really is. Like how you eat and how we fuel our bodies is what sets the tone for how we look and feel. So I was just like, okay, personal training cute, but I'm peeping at the only clients that change their actual physical makeup and look better and stronger and lean out are the ones that change their diet.
Wow.
So I started studying diet. I was like, oh, nah, I got a nutrition certification at first. I got 2 of them at the time. I got a precision one and just a regular one. I don't even remember the name of it. But I started peeping, the more I started taking nutrition clients, that eating and how we eat and how we show up to our meals and just the way we even choose a meal has everything to do with our environment, our lifestyle, our stress levels, and our feelings. Like we're all emotional eaters, all of us. Like we are, but it's about knowing and having a positive, joyful relationship with food where it can be fruitful for both. Like, oh, this meal is delicious and it's nutritious, because the two can definitely coexist. So that's when I just started peeping, like it goes beyond personal training and fitness and exercise. It goes beyond just eating well. It is literally living well. Like everything is connected, from the way we sleep to our friendships, to our relationships, to the things that the podcast, y'all listening to this show, this is a part of your diet. Like everything is a part of your diet. And then that's when I started peeping, like it's holistic. And it took it to a whole new level. So I was like, I want to get licensed in holistic nutrition. And that is like eating for mind, body, soul. And it's about, and it's about eating for energy and eating in a way that feels good. You're like, oh, like I feel energetic. So it goes beyond just eating well, but it's about living well as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
To go from, so let me just do a quick recap. Mm-hmm. You went to Paris. Mm-hmm. You were going to walk for Wang. Mm-hmm. 5 racks. Mm-hmm. Stacks. Mm-hmm.
God said, never said that. Never said
Nigga
that.
said, your hips don't lie. And from there, my girl was at the Starbucks trying to visit the Eiffel Tower. She on a FaceTime on the phone with her mom, passed out and hospitalized for 10 days, dehydrated, vertigo, and you were literally flirting with death. And this was something that you thought you wanted. You literally up and packed and left and said, I'm going to pursue my dreams. And people were trying to fit you into a box that you weren't even made to fit into. And you almost compromised who you were for that. But by the grace of God and by the grace of you and your higher self, that was your awakening. Absolutely. So when you think about it, that Paris situation needed to happen because it really woke you up into really seeing like, I need to take care of my body. And not only do I need to take care of my body, I need to teach other people how to take care of their bodies, but not, and it's beyond their body. It's about how can I take every sector in my life and implement a healthy diet for everything that I intake.
What a fly ass summary. You just ate that. Yeah, that's exactly
English was one of my subjects. English was one of my subjects. You feel me? I used to write some papers back in the day. But that is just amazing. Exactly like, I didn't even know about your fashion background. And even just hearing this, like, I remember working in that industry. Like, I remember. So I remember.
Wild. It's wild.
It was a wild time. Like, I remember helping girls go to go-sees. I literally, was in that industry, and I remember when a girl would gain weight. I remember
models
the
weren't
jokes
even
that would
their
be
period.
made. Models wouldn't get their period. It's 5-6 of them living in an apartment, eating peas and bacon for breakfast, and that's the only meal that they got for the day. And it's crazy because it's like, yo, you want to walk for Balenciaga? Like, I've literally seen a woman's confidence be broken down and put into this fake ass build a block, build a bear idea of what beauty should be. And it's so sad just to see how that industry, impacted many people, many women, men and women, but I love how influencing and content creation is changing that.
Oh, deep.
I love how it's changing that because now I'm seeing people that look like me. I feel like I'm seeing people, and I feel that more celebrities and more talent are lending that diversity to what a person looks like nowadays. Like, I love the fact that I can see campaigns where there is a person I might not have seen there 10 years ago, there now. And it's so inspiring because if anything, just stay to who you are.
Absolutely.
Eventually there's going to be space for you. When you're ready to show up, you'll show up. And when it's there for you, it'll show up.
And one thing about just God too in the universe, like, I would not say I'm very religious, but I am very spiritual.
Yes.
Like, God in the universe, they not out to hurt us or get us.
Never.
They ain't against us. They not like, nah, I gotta take this away from
not the ops.
They not the ops. So it's really like just standing in your truth and being your authentic self and showing up and finding out who you are. Mad doors is gonna open up, because even though fashion was closing left and right, the moment I stepped into personal training and nutrition and holistic nutrition, my life and the way I feel has excelled, and like so many different opportunities have come my way, because it's just like, oh my God, like, you're like the holistic homegirl, you're like this,
I love that.
Yeah, because I'm myself.
That is like the epitome of who you are. I love that, the holistic homegirl. I literally love that for you. But you were touching on this, and I want to get into just, the topic a bit more, but you were talking about just like your intake. And I want to kind of just want you to elaborate on your mental intake and your physical intake and what that is limited to, what that's not limited to, and exactly how we can be more mindful of our physical and mental intakes.
Okay, so for starters, I am a big, big, big fan of how you start your day, because I just feel like having a morning routine or like a nighttime routine and just having a daily routine that is consistent, and you are tapping into yourself and you're watering your glass. Like, that's the way I like to just see it. Like, how are you watering
filling your
yourself?
Glass first.
Yeah, you're filling your glass first before you jump on the phone. Like, if there's anything I want anybody that's listening to take away from this, is like, stop jumping on your phone first thing in the morning. Like,
yeah.
like it's first off, it's a sign of like lacking intimacy. You're seeking connection from people, and we're low key minding everybody's business but our own.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? We in everybody's business, like, and it's so unnatural and it's very unhealthy. And that's the first thing I would say is just like, if we want to start tapping into better mental health habits and we want to just take care of ourselves, like how you start your day is legit how you start your life. Are you stretching in the morning? Are you getting enough movement? Are you getting water? How are you taking care of mind, body, soul? Are you meditating? Are you reading? Are we learning new things? Like just small things like that. But a huge part of mental health as well is diet. It's how we handle our stress, spending time in nature. Like that is so, so important. I don't think enough people talk about that or think about that.
Absolutely. Negative ions. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, like negative ions happen like after a rain shower, when you're up in like elevation in mountains. Mm-hmm. It's when you're able to actually take in because our bodies are electricity. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah, so our bodies are riding energy currency waves
all the time. Yeah, and it's and again, like the phones, very unnatural, very man-made, very mechanical. So it has a different sort of energy. It has a different level,
frequency,
a different level of frequency. It does. And speaking of frequencies too, like all food vibrates at a certain frequency. All foods, like every single food. Yes. You have foods that vibrate at a low frequency and you have foods that vibrate at a high frequency. We want to be in alignment with high vibrancy foods, period. So the way you can always tell if like a food is going to give you energy is by the amount of colors it has and how vibrant those colors are. So I always say like when you eat colorful, you feel colorful because it's true. Yeah, because it's really, really true. The more colors you eat, the more greens, oranges, reds, purples, all of that. The more you eat like that.
Roy G. Biv.
all of that, you eat all of that, and we're giving our bodies the diversity and the variety that it needs to create a healthy gut microbiome. So when we got the right amount of balance in our system, and it's like, oh, we got the bad bacteria, we got the good bacteria, and they flirting with each other, they tapping each other in. It's a healthy balance. The body has more energy, your skin is clearer, your breath is better, your energies, you can think more clearer, less brain fog, better memory, just everything brightens up because of our diet. Like food is literally fuel, and we need that.
I believe Hippocrates, I think it was the second oath of his. I remember the first one is the human body is meant to heal itself. And the second one is food should be thy medicine, or let food be thy medicine. Mm-hmm. And the Hippocratic oath, if you guys are not familiar, is the oath that doctors take in. Funny enough, right?
That's so funny.
It's so hypocritical. Yeah, so contradictory. Anyways, but that is the oath that they take. I learned that in health, in one of my health classes in college, which is so wild. But yes, food. It's funny because when you're talking about frequencies, everything that we're talking about is energy, right? Frequency, currency, vibration, everything is a feeling. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier was the connection between the gut and the mind. You didn't really say too much about it, but you pretty much just kind of touched on it a little bit. And it's like from what we're intaking. And so just even anxiety, I myself have experienced, and I guess we can get into, gut health, because the whole title of this show is Go With Your Gut.
I love that.
About go with your gut. And for myself, unfortunately, I suffer with gut issues. I deal with a combination of like IBS. It's a combination of like acid reflux, where there's some days where I'm just like throwing up, like literally acid, like my stomach, whether I ate something too spicy or not, and the amount of pain it creates. Like it's to the point where some days I can't even get out of bed, and I literally have to sit in bed with a heating pad on my stomach. And I noticed that it happened when I started getting burnt out from work. And what's so funny, what's so crazy is that the gut, if you guys are familiar with the Hindu chakra system or Kemetic studies, they call it Arit, but pretty much that area, the stomach is that area of will. It's your area of willpower, how you assert yourself in this world. It's your fire, that's solar plexus. And I believe they call it Manipura in Vedic terminology or Hindu terminology. I'm not too sure. But pretty much that is the area where will and fire that it's created, right? So
real quick, I love that you mentioned the Kemetic diet, because the Kemetic diet is basically like eating the way our ancestors ate, and it's about plant-based eating.
Like Kemetic teachings?
No, there's a Kemetic diet.
Yes,
there's a Kemetic
if
diet.
I'm not mistaken, man. Have you ever read the book Sacred Woman?
Yeah.
Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. Yes.
I love
that.
her.
That is the Kemetic diet. Yes.
Well, she talks about the Kemetic diet. She talks about it. She refers to it often.
So ladies, I'm going to say, like, if you were just even on the beginning of your self-enlightenment journey, Queen Afua's book, Sacred Woman, was one of the first books that I ever touched that literally changed my life. I remember a friend had shown me the poem, and I Call Myself a Woman by Nikina Evans. And the poem started off, how can I call myself a woman when I don't even know my own womb? Oh, girl, I cried. I don't know my womb. I never consented with you. Oh my God. Yeah. And we don't even realize how much there's a disconnect between the mind and the body, when in fact they work hand in hand together.
Absolutely.
You mentioned feelings.
We wouldn't even have a mind if we didn't have a body, and vice versa.
You mentioned feelings.
Feelings is very important too. But I want to mention two things. One, I've met Queen Afua before. I've done one of her workshops.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it full circle moments
just
again.
Just vibes.
Yeah, she's amazing. And I will say, like, if you are gonna read Sacred Woman, what's really like I think a better to me option would be to read Heal Thyself by Queen Afua first.
Ooh, I never read that one.
She actually came out with that book after Sacred Woman.
Funny,
but when I read Sacred Woman, and then I read Heal Thyself, and it felt backwards. It's very backwards, because Heal Thyself, you can tell that people came in when she wrote Sacred Woman. You can tell that they was like, there's almost a little bit too much Kemetic Egyptian Mott talk. It's a little bit too much Mott talk, and it's like it's very Egyptian and very spiritual and godly, but it is like low-key another language. So Heal Thyself is in English. All of Heal Thyself. Yeah, all of Heal Thyself is in English. So it's like a perfect prequel to Sacred Woman. So I would always recommend like to read Heal Thyself first. So when you do show up for Sacred Woman, you're a bit more prepared and you understand the language better.
Got it. Love Queen Afua. Love all of her literary works. But I want to just ask, for one, we talked about diet. We talked about everything that you intake. But I don't really know if we understand what the gut really is. Can you break down exactly what the gut is? Because we just think it's a stomach, but the gut is an actual world.
It's a whole world.
And if I'm not mistaken, the largest nerve in the body, which is called the vagus nerve, connects your brain to your stomach.
Absolutely. That's why a lot of people are always just like when I talk about gut and brain, the connection, a lot of people are like, no, it doesn't cross the blood barrier. It doesn't. But our feelings and our nerves are not only in our blood. It's not only in our blood. It is in our gut, literally. Serotonin is developed in our gut. Dopamine.
Is serotonin, if I'm not mistaken, what is it, the happy hormone?
Yeah, it's the happy hormone.
Yes, that happens like when you hug people. Is that the one?
Yeah, serotonin comes in like when you hug people with like touch and connection. It also comes in to like even caffeine can
maybe a lot of us are really lonely. That's why a lot of us got fucked up guts.
And a lot of for real. And
that's crazy.
And it's also a huge reason why like we emotionally eat a certain type of way that inspires more poor gut health. But that's another thing. Like food and feelings is a whole nother conversation.
Food and feelings.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. That's really, really good. We can get into that as well. But as far as like mind and gut connection, so the way I like to like try to explain it is just imagine little soldiers, right? And we're gonna call them neurotransmitters. And these soldiers, they share messages. That's what they do all day. It's their only job is to send a message, right? Certain foods and certain habits and just like the things that we do, like constantly being on the phone, always listening to music, or always having a TV or a screen on, or just like lack of sleep, lack of water, always stressed, don't like our job, just having like certain negative feelings send certain negative neurotransmitter messages. It's like, oh, inflame. We about to be inflamed. Stress, inflame. Like, and it just bloats you. It makes you constipated. It makes you very uncomfortable, like abdominal pain. So the thing is, we want our neurotransmitters, we want the right soldiers to pop out and send the right messages. And the way we do that is by eating.
You want the right soldiers to pop out, not the ops.
No, we don't want
the ops.
We don't want the
ops. We don't want the stomach ops.
No.
We don't want the constipation ops. The cops.
The cops. Not the cops.
Not the cops. They be cock blocking. All right, I'm done. I can keep going. We done though. But that's so dope. So it's literally, we need more good soldiers.
Oh, yes. And good soldiers looks like probiotics. It looks like prebiotics, which is just the food for probiotics. It looks like taking care of your stress, because food can't be the only thing that's taking care of your stress. Like you literally have to do meditation and stretch and yoga and therapy.
Can we talk about that though? Can we talk about like more so like stress and its effect on the stomach? Can we talk about like how our actual minds affect our gut? Because I can even think about like, there's been times where I might have been nervous and I feel butterflies in my stomach. And I'm thinking about it, and then the feeling, and we don't really make that mind connection, that mind-body connection.
So that's anxiety, and anxiety is, again, all in the gut.
I hate anxiety.
Yeah, anxiety is why.
Fuck you, anxiety.
Yeah. But anxiety, it tells us a lot about ourselves. I like to see it like a map. Like it's dead. It's legit showing you what's what and what's not. Like what it is. So, and it also shows you what your boundaries are. Like, it's like, oh, okay, like, I don't like that. That makes me anxious. Or I like this and I feel safe here. So I try to see it like, it's the plug. Like, it's going to put you on to what's what. But, I don't want to lose my thought. I think we just mentioned something about the mind and the gut.
Yeah, it's like stress, anxiety, in mind and gut. But you were pretty much elaborating on the fact that anxiety pretty much shows us where we might need boundaries. It might show us like exactly where we're planning or where we think we're headed, but it tells you more about yourself. I think that's what
it does. And the thing with the stress and mental health and the gut health, it's very cyclical. Like it's a cycle. Like, in order for you to have better mental health, you need to have a better gut, and in order for you to have a better gut, you need to have a better mental health system. They are so they're married. They're married. Okay, they fuck with each other hard. Yeah, they're like, oh, gang. So the thing is, like, we need to have better lifestyle habits. It goes beyond just taking the right supplements and eating well. It has to be your actual lifestyle. You have to do positive, nourishing things in the morning. You need to end your day digesting what happened to you that day.
Yes.
And
sometimes we don't even process what happened to us. We just go into go to sleep in the next day.
We turn on Netflix and then we
turn on Netflix and go to
another
sleep.
Screen. And it's just what we do. So we're not processing things. And if we're not processing things,
how can we expect our bodies to process things? Bomba cleat. You shit.
If we lack the aftercare behind a hard day or a hard conversation, and we don't even process that right, how can our bodies break down food the right way?
Wow.
Literally. This is where journaling comes into play. This is where having hard conversations. This is where comedy, like even laughter, is medicinal.
I noticed how laughter definitely. Some days my boyfriend, he's so funny. Some days I just be looking at him. I just be like, I am so happy you were so funny.
Yeah.
Like, you look good. You're not funny looking, but you funny and you look good. Yeah. Damn.
I think that's my favorite thing about my boyfriend too.
Like, just making me laugh, because laughter is really medicine. Like, some days I could be having the shittiest day, and just to be able to crack a smile, it's just like, thank you, God. Because I really want to cry.
You want to cry?
You really want to cry some days. No, but
laughter is so beautiful, and it's so therapeutic. And I do feel like, because my boyfriend is very funny too, I do feel like we are low-key aging backwards for being with funny people. Like, we're just always like, and it's in your gut again.
Instead of having someone that makes you like like stand on edge. I remember back in the days when I used to date my little credit card scamming little drug dealer boyfriends back then, and the anxiety I get, like, oh my God, he got locked up. I'm like, I wish my mom would have just snatched my ass.
Right, right. But
get anxiety over.
Well, that's again gut.
The gut
going crazy. Gut, like, oh, what's this? Gut
exactly.
is showing you what your boundaries need to be.
Even in just being in environments, and that's what we're talking about. Just being in New York City, just always being on alert, like always feeling scared, always feeling like I'm ready to go, or I got to be on guard. Like I could believe, like your adrenaline, like your cortisol levels is probably on 100.
Absolutely.
That's why the stress is there. Like your body, you're right, can't process it. And we're not taking care of our bodies to process it. It's like we're not taking care of our cars, or the engine or the transmission in order for it to get to our destination. And it's going to keep breaking down if you don't service it.
Yeah. And one thing too, like with a lot of my clients, they're always like, tell me what to eat, tell me what to eat, tell me what to eat. And I'm like, what you eat is so important, but it's really how you live. Because even if I can like write out a nutrition program for you, you need to go food shopping. Yeah. You just do. You need to make sure that your kitchen pantry is in alignment with your health journey, right? So then you need to like look at your schedule. Where do you have time to actually have home cooked meals? Now this is lifestyle. Like it's not just eating your kale and Swiss chard and broccoli. It is about where can this fit into my life while I work and love on my friends, and I'm a daughter and I'm a mother and this and that. It is truly our habits. Everything is in our habits.
It's the way you take care of yourself.
It's
the way you take care of ourselves. And sometimes the way that we take care of ourselves, we're so wrapped up in work. We're so wrapped up in what we're doing for everyone else. We're in everyone else's business that we don't even know what's going on with ourselves. We don't even know our own business. We don't even know what's going on in our bodies.
It's really
we have to go to other people to tell us.
Absolutely. And I think if you're one of those people who's like struggling with your diet and you have no idea where to start, definitely cop or start a food journal where you're just like writing down. That. Yeah, where you're just writing down, like even if it's in a notes app, just writing down what you're eating and how is it making you feel. Like just think about it. Like after like 30 minutes when you're done eating, ideally when we are eating and we're done, we should feel like we can get up and go for a light walk. Like we should feel able-bodied and still have enough energy to go do things.
But what if you're feeling sluggish and you got the itis?
You did not eat and that's another thing too. Like
a lot of people itis like, is not itis real. This, itis is inflammation.
Yeah. Itis is not only inflammation, it's literally the body. Like you gave me so much to break down. What is this? I'm gonna need a second. I'm gonna need a second.
And from what I understand, you probably know this better than me. I think the connection also with the mind and the gut is that the body can only process one thing at a time, if I'm not mistaken. So the way that we eat a bunch of sides, the way that we add on like buns and burgers and pasta, it's actually increasing the amount of bloating and inflammation that we experience because the body, the brain is like, okay, this girl just ate a burger. I have to let out this much acid to digest the beef, then I have to let out this amount of acid to digest the bread. But the problem is that the acid is only going to come out for the burger. Right. And then the bread and the lettuce and the tomato is going to get left behind. And that's how you end up having so much waste
and like IBS,
in your body and IBS.
IBS, because IBS is really, it's called irritable bowel syndrome. And there's different types of IBS too. There's IBS-B, there's IBS-C, which is like IBS bloating, constipation, acid reflux, things like that. So it's not that the body can only break down one thing. It can only break down one type of food group at a time. Yes. So it can break down kale and spinach. It can break down that together. Because it's in this
cruciferous food group. Yeah.
You know, it's in the same
but
food group.
But you can't mix an apple and or you might not be able to mix like an apple or like an orange because an orange is like an acid versus an apple, but maybe I think you can mix subacids and acids. But if it's like if you have something that's an acid, you shouldn't really mix it with something that's like alkaline. Like from I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on the levels. It depends on the level. Like you wouldn't want to mix something super alkaline with something super acidic. But if they're around the same line, like on the acid, so on the pH level, like then that's okay. So the thing with like food combinations, like it goes back to like that's why food is so medicinal. Like, and you could just look at your food. Like if it looks like they're in the same family, then you can eat them together. Kale, spinach, perfect, you know. And another great thing about certain foods is like certain vitamins unlock other vitamins. Like we can't even absorb certain vitamins without another vitamin. So we can't even absorb certain nutrients without other nutrients. Yeah, girl, listen, I'm getting too excited. I'm like, my thoughts is racing. I'm getting too excited. So, but I will say that when it comes down to the diet and just how our bodies is made up, like we can always train it to do the things that we need, and we can always like listen to it because it's always communicating with us. Our bodies is always communicating. And once you feel a pain, an ache, anything, it's the body saying I'm a little stressed, I'm a little inflamed, things like that. So the last thing I do want to say about this food combination is it's always better to partner a meat with a veggie. And it's always better to partner a carb with a veggie. So the moral of the story is we need to be eating more veggies. We need
pretty much veggies are the vibe.
Veggies are gang. Like
I love this. And it's crazy because not so many people would actually make the mind-gut connection or our environments and our lifestyles to what because it just seems like, oh, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm eating today. Not realizing that this is your actual lifestyle. Do you have time to eat? When are you going to eat? What time are you eating? What are you watching while you're eating? Are you watching TV while you're eating? Or are you talking to your family? What kind of conversations are you having? And it can even go digest food when
you're doing other things because the mind is elsewhere.
I mean, shit. Sometimes there's conversations I can't even digest. I can't digest half the shit I see on the news. Shit.
Talk about it for real.
It's like
for real.
And speaking of the mind gut connection, of course, once again, I want to talk about just one more thing, and we can just pretty much kind of curtail it off from there. Is the connection between your intuition and your gut. Mm-hmm. Because I think that a lot of the time, a lot of us use the saying, oh, go with your gut, go with your intuition. And a lot of us don't really understand what your intuition is and exactly how it goes with your gut. Mm-hmm. Can you break that down a little bit, Brad?
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in order to really tap into your intuition and to trust her, we have to know how to be a good listener when it comes down to our bodies. We just do. It's going to be so hard for you to say, I trust my gut or I listen to my gut, and you don't know how you eat. You don't have habits that tap into how you normally feel. So many clients that when I talk to them about their diet, I'm like, how do you eat in the week? And they have no idea. They have no idea how they eat.
I wouldn't even be able to tell you, but I'm going to take your suggestion and start a food journal.
Yeah, like a food journal is really going to help you. And that is a huge part of tapping into your intuition, just learning what's working for your body, what's not working. This way, like the more comfortable and familiar we get with our bodies, it's like, oh, yeah. She's saying it's not working. She's saying it's not in alignment. She's saying this don't work. She's like, it's like a muscle. Yeah. Or your intuition is like a muscle. It's not something that just randomly wakes up in and out. Like it's something that you build.
It's like a muscle.
It is. It's something that you build. So it's like you have to like work at it.
And you have to listen to it when it talks to you. I seen something on Twitter. Someone said, if you stop listening to your intuition, it'll stop talking to you.
It will.
So
would you want to talk to somebody and they don't listen to you?
Like, I know my intuition be like, bitch, I'm tired of you. I done red flag. I told you not to get on this ride, and you wanted to get on. And my gut is always right. And there's some times where you just can't even prove it, but your gut knows. It's a feeling. It's almost like magic.
I want us to feel that way about food. I do. You know how I want us to feel that way about food. You know how you just like you
get excited. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm like literally just like fantasizing about a salad right now from Sweet Green. Yeah. Like I'm legit. That's all I'm thinking about. We should go get one. We should it's the fact that we're developing this level of excitement, and I love the fact that you said that using your gut to even feel that way, right? Like intuitively choosing what you might want, right? There's some days when I wake up, I don't actually want a heavy breakfast, and my body is like, yo, give me granola, give me a little bit of almond milk yogurt and some fruit, and I'm good to go. That's all I need for today.
Let me ask you, you know how you just said your body is saying I want something light?
Yeah.
How did you create the space to even know it said that? Like, are you on your phone? Like, what are you doing where you're in a space where you're like, oh,
I love that you said that.
Yeah,
well, when I wake up in the morning sometimes, I try not to go on my phone the first thing in the morning, and I like to just sit with my thoughts sometimes. So just even waking up in the morning, I'm very quiet. I don't really speak. It's kind of like a talking fast almost. Like even when I'm with my boyfriend, we might not really speak as much. It's like, mwah, kiss, good morning. We might say a couple words to each other, but it's really the time to even just gather my thoughts, you know, before I even, you know, just even try to hear to see like what my body's saying to me, like recalling any dreams. How do I feel? I think that's the first thing I do when I wake up is, how do you feel and why do you feel like this?
I love that. I'm about to shake my head off. I love that.
I really ask myself, it's like, why do you feel like this? I always ask myself, why do you feel this way? Because 9 times out of 10, I'm tripping. 9 times out of 10, I'm taking on emotions that are not even mine. I take on situations that are not mine. I mean, shit, I didn't mind my business for a long time. I was always available. I was available to everybody else, but unavailable to myself. How crazy is that? You're available to everybody but yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's the common story of a lot of Black women.
You know, and I find that collectively a lot of us are understanding that intuition connection and understanding that we really do have this superpower that lies within us. And that's what I was mentioning about the third chakra. That's literally the place where intuition is created, that feeling. And the thing is that your intuition can't necessarily rationalize what your mind feels. Your mind is always trying to rationalize. Well, you know, like for example, you might have a bad feeling about a person. I always am 150% correct when I have a gut feeling about people. Anytime I have a project, anytime I fall out with somebody, my gut always has tried to tell me. I remember one time I had somebody I used to work with. Homegirl told me that she had gotten a past life reading, and in the past life reading, it said that she was a bad person in all her previous lives, and she's in this life to do good. My gut said, bitch.
No, you're not.
Let the girl go. Stop trying to be nice. Stop trying to rationalize it. She's literally told you right here and there. But my mind said, no, you don't want to look like a bitch. You don't want to look like this. What's your reason? Huh? Just because you felt that way? Just because you felt it? Mm-hmm. And guess what? My gut was right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things where you could kick yourself in the ass. And I think that's one thing we feel guilty because we didn't believe ourselves in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then we still replay this cycle of being the judge, the jury, the plaintiff, the defendant, and you're literally holding yourself hostage, guilty over and over and again. But one thing I do want to talk about before we end is the connection between letting go in the gut and forgiveness in the gut. And I feel that one of the things that I've learned, someone told me this before, if you don't let shit go, you can't let shit go. Yeah. And connecting things like constipation to you not being able to let go what happened to you in the 4th grade.
Yeah. It's a lot of, I don't know, like a lot of holistic healers, they talk a lot about using your voice and speaking up, and that like helping with constipation and helping with gut issues. Because if you hold things in, you do not speak up for yourself, or you just don't know how to let certain things go. Like it's lacking the ability to release. Literally. And also another thing is like, it stops you from surrendering and like letting things flow. And you know, and when you don't let things flow, what do you think is happening with
even
your
like
food?
Money, cash flow, currency, flow, energy, frequencies.
Bring it back to energy.
Everything connects to energy. Whether it's going with your gut, whether it's going with the flow, everything has to do with energy and everything has to do with currency. So now it's like, you speaking about food more and more and more, it's really just drilling into me now. And I really want to thank you, because now I'm like, I can be a little bit more mindful about what I'm putting into my body, because maybe I'm not paying attention to where I'm eating my food, right? Maybe I'm not paying attention to who I'm eating with.
Right. And just one more thing too, like even when you look at like the psychological take that certain conversations or certain things that we're afraid to let go of, just like when you just think about that, we are now in a space of like stress, and then we're not even picking the right foods that we need to pick. So
we're literally grabbing things on the go because we're late,
or
we're not being intentional,
and we're anxious, and we're just everything else. So it goes back again to lifestyle. Like everything goes back to lifestyle. So we have to have the hard conversations. We need to go to to therapy. We need to let shit go so we can be in a space to make healthier decisions that's in alignment with feeling good.
And if you can let things go, especially the things that are no longer good for you, you open up space for amazing things and opportunities. You might have somebody in your friend circle that might not be the best person to be around, but as soon as they go, you end up welcoming a whole new army of beautiful friends, or and
jobs.
If
you have a job you hate,
if you have a job you hate, specifically, please leave. And I know people I get it, security, but your body is going to be the first thing to tell you it is time to leave. Whether it is your stomach just acting up, whether it is do not be surprised that your body starts talking to you when it's time to go.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're not happy. Your body will tell you first.
Absolutely. And I will say, if you cannot leave right this second, one thing that's super important is to pick up a hobby, go to a therapist, tap into creative joy, play with your inner child, find movement that is just so joyful.
Especially if you feel stagnant, because movement is necessary. You need motion.
Yes.
Niggas got emotions, but no motion.
No.
So where's angry? Where's the anger going?
Where?
When you're angry, you need to hit something.
Your gut.
If you're angry, you need to break a plate. You might need to smash something. You might need to go to karate. Especially if you're a person that needs to, and I'm finding a lot. This is probably a deeper conversation. I feel like there would have to be a part 2 to talk about emotions and its connection. But can we just maybe talk about, just wrap up lastly, what are some ways we can take care of our gut health today? Aside from having a food journal, that was one of the tips you told us. Food journaling.
I would say the second thing is starting the day off with a warm tea or room temperature water with lemon, ginger, turmeric, black pepper.
Get your body going.
And if you really in your bag and you starting to get comfortable with that, add a little bit of cardamom in there, which is a nice spice that helps with gut and inflammation. So I would say start the day off with that. I would say always, and then always have a probiotic no matter what. And you want to get a probiotic with a CFU count over 50 billion.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, because this whole conversation was so filling, and now I feel like I'm about to go ahead and actually just go get my little food journal, and I'm going to be watching every single thing, not because I'm counting calories, but because I'm counting how much energy it's giving me, and
how
maybe
you feel.
And how I feel.
Does it make you anxious, aggravated,
does it make
tired,
me happy?
slow? Does it make me happy?
I'm not even listen, look at the music. How do I feel after listening to this artist? Wow. Maybe just even keep it. This is why diaries are important.
They allow us to check back in, and they hold us accountable. Yeah,
I miss having a diary, and it holds us accountable. And that's exactly what you have to do throughout this your life, being your own accountability partner, being accountable for your level of self and personal care. You got to hold yourself accountable to make sure you take care of yourself in every way possible. But Ariel, you are a breath of fresh air, and just our listeners, I'm pretty sure that they are absorbing this conversation, but just even hearing your journey is whoa, it's so beautiful, just as much as you are. And just even thank you for gracing gracing us with your presence. Thank you once again. I do want to ask you another question. Just lastly, where are you at and what are you currently working on? What are some new things that you have up your sleeve, some releases? Where can the people, expect to hear more from you?
So right now I am working on a 60-day intentional living journal.
Yes. Yeah. You just launched a
planner.
Yes, you just launched the planner. Buy her planner, y'all.
Yeah, it starts in April. Yes. It starts in April. It ends in March.
Yes.
So it just started.
She gave me one, y'all, and it's fucking fire.
All D. So thank you so much. Yeah, every single month is a different wellness intention, because I'm a holistic wellness. So
there's a challenge we can join in on, right?
Challenges.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a 52-week challenge. Every week is a different challenge for us to tap into how we want to feel.
This is so amazing. Oh my God, I cannot wait.
But let me tell you about the 60-day living journal. So it's basically like the planner, but it's just going to be 12 different wellness goals, but intentional, deep questions that forces us to look into our habits and design the life we want to live.
We got an author, Ariel the author. Shorty just went from modeling to author to holistic nutritionist. Shorty just did a whole 360 on you. Marion. No, oh my God. I just love learning more about you. Like, I'm definitely going to take part in I just cannot wait to start my wellness journey with you. This is so exciting. But we got a quick little speed round before we end off.
Okay. I'm ready.
So before we even start real quick, can you just tell the people where they could find you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at LeArielSimone. So it's Le Ariel Simone, and that's
Le Ariel Simone.
Le Ariel, which is funny because Le is like French.
Yes.
So yeah, Le Ariel Simone, and then that's also my Instagram, and my TikTok is Holistic Mommy with 2 eyes.
Yes, make sure y'all run it up for Holistic Mommy. Make sure y'all look into her planner so you can begin intentionally living your life with more joy and more energy. So speed round real quick. So I'm going to ask you or questions. So it's going to be this or that.
Oh,
so
okay.
You got about 60 seconds on the clock. Okay. Mm-hmm. So 60 seconds starting now. Uptowns or Air Force Ones?
Air Force Ones.
Butters or Constructs?
Constructs.
Discovery Zone or Funtime USA?
Funtime USA.
Gold bamboos or nameplate necklace?
Gold bamboo.
Telfar or Brandon Blackwood?
Brandon Blackwood.
Almond or oat milk?
Oat.
Love and Basketball or The Best Man?
Love and Basketball. Get
High with Jhené Aiko or Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Sage or Palo Santo?
Sage.
A Train or the L Train?
L.
Whole Foods or Trader Joe's?
Whole Foods.
Wedges or mules?
Mules.
Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Bundles with leave out or knotless braids?
Leave out.
Costa Rica or Jamaica?
Costa Rica.
Chopped salads or dig in?
Chopped salad.
Hot chips or hot Cheetos?
Hot chips.
Sunglasses or gold rings?
Sunglasses. Ooh, oh, that's hard. Gold rings.
Yoga or weightlifting?
Yoga.
Kim or Foxy?
Kim.
Ooh, you finished. That girl hot.
Oh, this good.
That girl hot. Well, Ariel, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Not So CEO. I am really grateful once again to have you here. Thank you, guys. And just once more, you guys can follow her at Le Ariel Simone, both on Instagram and Twitter as well. Please do not forget to look into her, what is it called? Intentional
Living Planner.
Intentional Living Planner. So that way we can get our lives together. All right. Thank you so much, y'all, for tuning in for another episode. And I'll chat with y'all soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.